Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the Skip Barbers here at the Nordschleife. We're starting in third place, and let's go racing. Good start for us. Guy in pole, Carmi, got a very bad start. There was a little bit of traffic jam. I had to get out of the way. Tried to send it down the inside, expecting Carmi to take a very slow line, but John's kind of brake checked everyone right there. So just sitting back at third. Nothing very big, just very calm start. Don't want to make any crazy moves at the start. It is the Nurburgring, so it's kind of consistency is key here and not outright overtaking ability. Take a few different lines than John's. We were talking before the race, and he was having some trouble with the track, as so was I. So he was taking quite different lines, just trying to avoid Carmi, any unfortunate events, and I'm just trying to follow him. And Rico Bene is just on my tail. And he's already looking for a position, just looking for that draft. I cut him off right here saying, you do not want to overtake right here. But I don't think he got the message because he's being pressured from behind as Bedillet going off track. And I get, speaking of off track, I have to go off track to avoid Rico Bene taking the apex and flying out very wide. And so out of the front, Carmi and John's going side by side down the straight, and I'm just going to drop back. I'm letting Valdez, Bedu, Rico Bene, Johns, and Carmi have their own thing because I know this corner on lap 1 is very tricky. And cue the music, 1 car off, 2 car around. Carmi's off as well, and he collects Baudet, and Baudet goes flipping around upside down, and he is out for the count. That car is toast, and taking that corner very easily, I'm up in the second. And that's what I mean by safe is fast around any track. Now, letting Valdez by, he does have a 1 second gap, but I think he might have some damage because I'm closing in on him on the straight, and he's taking some very cautious, very sketchy lines through these corners. May not be as used to the track as I am because I've been driving around here since 2005 on Xbox 360 on Project Gotham Racing. With my sister, we used to race around the ring all the time. Some chaos in the back. You can watch the broadcast feed in the bottom left hand of your screen. We'll switch over to that on the main screen from time to time to give you some more perspective of this race. But I am on Valdez's tail right now, and he's taking some very conservative lines heading into the braking zone. And I know this because I'm just constantly gaining on him in the braking zone, and he's going very slow as we head into hit miss. I kind of messed up on a gear change right here. I was experimenting with gear changes and where we should go with some gear changes and just trying to see if I could get some more power here, but mostly that was just me just guessing with the track. This one was horrible. I decided to downshift where I shouldn't downshift as we're coming up to the slowest corner on track. Gain up all that time I lost on him, right back on the tail, and I'm hunting right now. And let's go back to the broadcast feed to get this battle for the lead between me and Valdez. We're coming up this hill, and I started downshifting here actually, get more torque out of the corner. I hopped the curb, not my best exit, but I am getting a run on him. Side by side, Valdez and I go down the straight. We got this left-hand kink coming up, and he's going to surrender that place to me. He lifted off, I remember, and now I'm in the lead as we head into the long, hilly straight. Now, this straight has been my key in setting all my times here because I noticed that the Skip Barber doesn't really have that much power, and as you enter this corner right here, you're going to be in 5th gear as we're going to watch this battle for second. But later on in this straight, you want to actually shift down to 4th because you're going uphill, and the Skip Barber in the 5th gear doesn't get enough power. And you can see when I do the 4th gear change that Silverman's closing in on me 5/10ths below, and coming up to this left-hander 3/10ths. This is where I shift down to 4th, and now watch that interval climb. 4/10ths behind me, 5/10ths behind me, just going up and up and up. And I had voice chat off, but Silverman was very confused on how he lost 3/10ths on me during the race. He didn't know that shifting down was the best way to go right there. He thought it was just all draft, but no. It's all about horsepower as well. And these little Skip Barbers, they don't have enough. They don't have a lot of horsepower to get you up that hill in max gear. But still, just gearing doesn't win you here at Nurburgring. It's also consistency. So they're still in the battle for first behind me. Me, Silverman, Tomlinson, and Valdez. The top 4, but I'm obviously pulling away from these guys, and Tomlinson is putting some pressure on Silverman, so I'm banking on these two guys. Battling it out behind me, because I got clear track ahead of me. I don't have to worry about anything. I can push as hard as I can, but I'm still being safe, not taking any risks. As Silverman makes a little bit of a mistake right here, as Tomlinson goes very sideways, and Tomlinson gets a massive run, and I'm outside of the window. So let's go into our side-by-side action, brought to you by Wolfpack Esports and Artesian Builds, my computer sponsor, as we enjoy some coverage of the battle for second place and my onboard, as some of y'all will like to see that as well. If you like this format, please let me know. If you want me to change it up, please also let me know, as Silverman and Tomlinson both follow each other, going off in Auto Nation Corner, or Auto Addiction Corner. Very good YouTube channel. Y'all should check them out if you like videos of the ring. As Silverman and Tomlinson, they're in a great battle for second. Valdez is just sticking at the back there. He's one of those clean drivers I know. I've raced with him before. He's a very respectable guy. As Tomlinson and Silverman still following each other. As I've just checked out after this. 2.3 seconds ahead of these guys. Bring it on. Speaking of checking out, Silverman's checking out as Tomlinson goes off the track, cutting the track just a little bit. And that's allowing Valdez up the inside, but Valdez, being respectable, he lets him by. And that's kind of separated these guys already. But Silverman's bees starting to check out as they head into the secondary carousel. And Tomlinson just gets an absolute banger of a run here. But that straight is the great equalizer on this track, and that was my goal. Get a 1.5 second gap to the car behind, and I'll pretty much be out of the draft. And I'm entering this straight with a 3.5 second gap behind me and 3 angry Hornets behind me. Silverman, Tomlinson, and Valdez. And these guys are going to all bunch up with the power of that draft here at the Nordschleife Industrial Fahren. My German's not that good. I am sorry. As we're just cruising down the straight. This straight in practice, I like to call it the texting straight, because I would sometimes text somebody on the straight, but don't text her and drive on the race, people. You'll get banned that way. And Tomlinson gets the draft as we get a little sneak peek of me on the broadcast. As Tomlinson now ahead of Valdez and Silverman. Valdez also getting by, but they're going 3 wide, 2 wide, heading into the final corners. Tomlinson, though, is going to lead these guys into the second lap. As we just finally come across the final corner right now and complete our lap. These guys haven't completed their lap right there, but there they go. They just come across the line. I am using the SDK gaming overlay. It's a great overlay. You can go check it out for a free 14-day trial at sdk-gaming.co.uk. I'll leave a link in the description. This is also the overlay that I use when I'm broadcasting with Apex Racing TV. I'm usually broadcasting on there, so I don't get on track out as much as I want to. But especially with all this craziness going on, with all the news happening, I've been very busy. But if y'all want to check out some of my broadcasts, I do have a playlist of all of my casting on my channel, and I'll also leave a link to Apex Racing TV, their website, and our YouTube channel down in the description below, as we are now 5 seconds ahead of this battle for second. Tomlinson under pressure from Valdez. Valdez looking down the inside, heading up the berm, and Tomlinson is given the position by Valdez. Valdez still being that respectable driver I know him to be, not putting any pressure on the driver, not wanting to force any mistake, being very clean. He knows his track. He just wants to be very conservative with how he overtakes. This is where everyone got caught up on the first lap. Tires are warm now, so they're able to take it a lot more consistent. And none of these guys having any sketchiness. Thomason a little bit later on the brakes. And Thompson started to check out from second place. And he's starting to get that. He's going to start pushing now. Whenever you start seeing a gap more than 5/10 behind you, you know you start pulling away. You just get that urge to start pulling away. But when you start pushing and trying to pull away, you sometimes make mistakes. And heading into this section of the track, it's the most common place to have an incident. And Thomason just goes a little bit too hard, and he goes into the wall, and he falls down to 4th, and I believe he goes down to 5th place. Yes, he does right there. Don't think he got any damage from there. But now the battle for second is between Valdez and Silverman. You can see me way off in distance, 5.6 seconds in the lead here at the Nurburgring. And me being me, I'm just like, I want to see how big this gap can be. I already know I'm out of the draft. I don't have much to worry about. I got these two guys battling me, battling each other. So I got to start pulling away and relaxing. And but knowing me, I love pushing the limits, and I want to set my personal best here, because in practice I was only able to do about an 8:20, very mediocre times. But after I discovered that gear change, I noticed my relative, my optimum lap time was going down. And if you're watching my top left screen, you're about to witness one of my best clean laps ever of the Nurburgring. And when I say best clean laps, I mean about one of 7 clean laps. I haven't done a lot of clean laps here in the Skippy. Because I don't know why. I just love driving this track, but I'm guessing with the track conditions, I like to drive under very hot track, no tire wear. I like to learn car control more than learning the optimum driving line sometimes. But hey, car control, it saves you sometimes. Speaking of saving you, Valdez and Silverman in this ding-dong battle for second. They're going up into this hard draft after the braking zone, and now they're in a drag race here at Industrial Fahen around the 11 marker. This is where you shift up into fifth gear, right about here. They dive into this section, and I've started, if you're looking at my screen right now, I shift up into 4th right here, but shift down really, because that's when the hill kind of takes an upward turn, and you just start seeing the relative between me and them. It's falling down right now, but whenever they get into this section right here, it just starts climbing back up immediately. So little hint for y'all in a little bit of a scrap if you're leading the field, shift down to 4th. It really helps. Just time it right and don't blow your engine, which I've tried here. It's not fun. You'll also see me try this later in the race on the very back straight as I head into the carousel. As these two guys heading into the carousel, Valdez gives Silverman all the room he needs as these two cruise into the carousel. I took a very weird line. I was carving the edge of it. I'm not a big fan of the carousel because I have gotten a few contacts that I like to run in very low setup sometimes, and I'll forget, and I'll get some car damage from there. So I take it very cautiously. And this section of the track that I'm in right now, it is my least favorite part of the ring. It's also my favorite part to drive, but I hate it because I have to stay on track and everything, but it's just so flowy, and it's just a bliss to drive here. And speaking of a bliss, this battle between Silverman and Valdez, a bliss to watch. Valdez up onto the tail of Silverman as they're heading into one of the most popular spectator areas here at the ring. You see all the crowd right there. Silverman and Valdez still battling it out. They went off track here on lap 1. They keep it on track. They guess they don't want to be on the Auto Addiction channel on their Nurburgring Crash Fails playlist, as Valdez decides to cut the corner just a little bit, trying to get any advantage back onto Silverman. He knows he's got that draft, so he's probably just going to stay in the back there, but if he could put some pressure on Silverman and try not to go for that last lap overtake, he's going to do that, but he's falling back because Silverman has shown some great pace through this sector. Silverman going a little bit off track. Valdez took a more comfortable line, and he's back on with Silverman. And Silverman, I said this at the start of the race, he's very quick, but he's got to work on consistency. And I believe Skip Barber, consistency is key here, because if you just set consistent laps, especially around the ring, you're just golden to be up there in the top 5. And also, if you're just running in the ring and you don't have any knowledge of it, a good strategy, and you don't want to lose or gain if you want to gain rating, just run races at the ring, because if you just run consistent laps, don't get into any incidents, you'll gain SR like a skyrocket, because 156 corners, come on, it's awesome. As Valdez and Silverman having a drag race, as Carter and Tomlinson are also having a drag race down the back straight, but I don't believe they get any closer than they are right now, because Tomlinson does have some damage. I believe he did lose his nose, the front nose tip of the car, which is like a freaking parachute in these cars. As I start to exit the straight, Silverman and Valdez in their drag race. Valdez has all the speed, but Valdez is just letting Silverman have the spot, because he knows he's going to have the draft if he stays with Silverman at the end of this race, because a lap around here, 8 minutes 16 seconds. Ooh, read a book during then. But that was my personal best, fastest lap ever, 4 seconds faster than Silverman and Valdez. I did post the fastest lap of the session, and then somebody put in a 8-minute 13 time, but I believe they did cut the track for that. So I was a little bit bummed, but whatever. I'm not sure who it was. I believe it was like Rico Bene, or one of the cars that was a lap down. As I go off track right here, I saw that 816. I'm like, let's go for an 815, 814. Let's see how low I can take this. I obviously know this track, and well, that's what happens when I push. As Valdez and Silverman, still these two guys attacking each other. And Valdez going to get all that draft right here, but still staying behind Silverman. And this is very smart driving for Valdez. I was going to make a series on the iRacing guide, the Memer's Guide to iRacing, and one of the overtaking was, if you can't get past the guy and you know you're faster than him and you don't want to risk your SR, just poke your nose down the inside. Chances are they're going to make a mistake very soon. But Valdez is not one of those drivers. He just wants to be safe, and he's playing the long game with the draft, trying to pressure Silverman into a mistake, but not risking his own self going for a mistake, forcing him to go down to the inside of that very tricky corner, and him just applying the brakes. That allows Silverman to get a 7/10 gain as they were side by side, but Silverman not being the most consistent drivers, and the draft being very powerful in these cars. Silverman being reeled in by Valdez now. As I have a 9.8 seconds gain ahead of Silverman, and I kind of let myself go over right here, as we'll see Silverman start to gain in on me right now. And Silverman's a quick driver. I have nothing against these two guys. We were all chatting after the race, having a good time, complimenting each other on our lines. I had to watch the replay because I was like, well, I don't know what happened back there. So I was talking with these guys after the race. We're all friends now. Silverman, number 9 car qualifying here. There is no qualifying at the ring. There is a qualifying actually before you have to go into a qualifying session. That's how Karimi got on pole ahead of me, because I saw my car was a number 2 car. I'm like, yes, front row. I can battle it out. I can take the gloves off. I can go boom, boom, boom. It's nighttime, bro. But starting in second, in the second row. It was very hard, especially with John's brake checking right there. And Michael T. Johns is I believe that's his name. Yes, it is. John's in 8th place. He #1 car. Feel very bad for him for getting caught up in there because he was battling his heart out, but unfortunately him and Carmi got a little bit loose. But I think Carmi was the one that first got loose and just got into the side. John saw that, got onto the brakes, and that sent his car around. And the biggest loser out of that had to be Rico Bene, who was just on point through there, and unfortunately was collected by Carmi. No, it wasn't Rico Bene, it was Bedeau. Bedeau was collected by that. Rico Bene was that Mercedes car that I had to go off track to avoid him. As that start of the race was just insane. I've never seen 4 cars just ping pong out of the way for me. From just me just being, I know this corner is tricky. I know y'all are aggressive. I'm just gonna lift off. Y'all have fun. Cue the music. Bing bang boo boo boom. Call up the witch doctor. She told me what to do. And there they go. As Silverman has pulled out a gap on Valdez, 1.5 seconds, and that has turned off the battle box in the bottom right hand corner. Silverman, very wide line coming through here in Valdez. More consistent line. Valdez now starting to reel in on Silverman. Who's going to have the better line through the carousel? It's looking like Valdez have the better line, because I also noticed this on my last lap. You don't want to take the carousel at first gear or exit at first gear, because you're pretty much on the limit that entire time. If you're in second, it pulls off so much nicer. As Silverman, he's got a pretty comfortable gap behind him now. Valdez made some mistakes going into the braking zone right there, and Silverman starting to push, starting to get that confidence, trying to pull away from Valdez, get that draft advantage and not get him in there, but makes a little bit of mistake, and Valdez hooked those corners together. Valdez now on the tail of Silverman. In just like 5 corners, Valdez is closed in on Silverman as we just get shot of tree right there. As when I was recording this, I believe I was completely forgetting to look at the screen and change the camera. My bad. So they go through Auto Addiction corner right there. I believe this corner has another name, but I'm just calling it Auto Addiction because that's just the corner they sit in. Now, I believe he's banned, but I saw another video of his a couple times back, but if he still is banned, come on, Nurburgring. I love these videos. As Valdez is Silverman getting nose to tail even more. This is on the last lap, so they going it for all the marbles, and Valdez knows this, but he's got that giant straight on the back straight, so he's just going to plant his nose on the back of Silverman. He's trying to force Silverman into a mistake. If not, he's going to take him into the draft on the straight. Valdez looking down the inside. Silverman not having any of it, swings around the outside. Valdez been doing that move every lap now. As Valdez and Silverman going to the secondary carousel as I pull onto the straight for one last time. Pedal to the metal. I started actually crying here. So history with me in this track goes, I mentioned I've been driving here since 2005 with my sister. I never really won a race here against her, so hashtag not my proudest moment. Hashtag why are you a racer? Your sister's fast in here. Hey, this is back to 2005. All right, I didn't practice here. I was mainly obsessed with Madden back then. All right. Now that I'm racing here, I love driving here, but it's a very emotional place for me because this is just a track that whenever I feel stressed out, I hop down onto do some laps. And speaking of hopping down, Valdez hops ahead of Silverman. Silverman looking around the outside now. These two guys are going side by side, heading into the final corners. Speaking of final corners, I'm going to head into the final corner right now and take the win here at the ring. A 8-minute 15.341 as Valdez gets ahead of Silverman into that last braking zone. He's got one corner to go, and taking second place is going to be Valdez ahead of Silverstone. Thank you everyone for watching. My name is Austin Knight. Big shout out to my sponsors at Artesian Builds. Go check them out if you're looking for a high quality gaming PC. Also shout out to my esports team, Wolfpack Esports. You can follow us on Twitter at pack_esports. If y'all want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is at aknight_210. All my socials are in the description, and all the stuff I use is listed in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a good night.